Hi, this is Dawn here for Soul Streams Audio. Not exactly sure what this one's going to be titled just yet, so let me just dive in and see where this one heads. So I've been contemplating, this is very much a year of completion for me. I've talked about that on some of my videos on YouTube and in circles that I'm in. So I've been contemplating this idea of completion as it pertains to all areas of my life, not just the obvious things that are shifting and the relationships I'm completing and or the cycles I'm completing in my own life and life's work, but I've been thinking about this idea of completion. And I was brought back to a verse from the Bible that I used to particularly love. It's from Philippians. I'm not exactly sure the precise verse, but it says, he who began a good work in being confident of this, he who began a good work within you, will complete it or perfect it and continue the completion until the day of Christ Jesus. And so, meaning the second coming. And so the idea of that the he who began a good work within you shall complete it. And the idea that we, in our Western culture and society, we so often think that destination, we start from A and we're getting to Z. And, there are all these steps in between, and some of us make it a zigzaggy journey, and some make it a let's get there the fastest journey. But either way, we're seeing it as, the finish line, the Z, and we're getting there, based on our own doing usually. And we often have this view too. I think what I want to talk about is this view that we must do all of that, and when we arrive at Z, then the real deal can begin. Then we can use our gifts fully. Then we can, speak our truth. Then we can write that book. Then we can make the choices that we know we need to make for ourselves, and make the really hard choices, to live our truth, not just speak it. And so we're often waiting for all those pieces to be in place, usually by a path that we determine. We're very big on self-determination, in case you hadn't noticed that, and I am anyway. And so there's this idea that when the completion happens, when everything is complete, then the fulfillment comes, and the true stepping fully into it can commence. And I want to suggest a different way of looking at this. So I believe that, as most of you I'm sure listening do, that we are constantly growing and evolving and changing and responding to our environment and participating in the experience of life and coming to live into full expression more and more through all those experiences. So it's a process. It's an unfolding. It's a journey. It's an ever-changing, dynamic process, or a way of moving through the world that is not fixed. It's not linear, and we know that. But we still have this idea, don't we, that something has to be completed, and then we can do the next thing. And part of that is our ego and our pride, but I believe also it's sort of like we just don't question it, because it's simply the approach that most of us have taken with almost everything in our lives, and it's just sort of almost like an indoctrination that we undergo in life. And so if we think of that everything is always being completed, and you can see that in partnership with God and the universe and spirit, then those gifts that we have been given, those soul gifts that we come here to share, are also being refined and completed. And the learning that we are undergoing, the great learning that is usually a result of, either a dark night of the soul, or, for some of us don't have to go through that intense of an experience, but it's definitely a series of events or experiences or occurrences that unfolded whereby we came to a greater awareness of who we are, why we're here, what this is all about, a deeper understanding, and an appreciation and a gratitude for that typically comes through time. And so there is such value when we look at what we have in any given moment and we use it all to the best of our ability. So let me give you one example. This is in the terms of spiritual gifts, and actually in the more narrow definition of that. Back when I was affiliated with traditional churches and attending those and serving in the capacity that I could through those, we in several churches I attended, we took a spiritual gifts inventory. I think I might have mentioned this on a different call, but forgive me, let me just dive into it real quickly. And so my spiritual gifts inventory came back, and they were beautiful gifts, but very hard to explain, and certainly didn't fit in within the structure of traditional environment. I believe, if I remember correctly, they were, I remember one of them was exhortation, and one of them was mercy and compassion. And then there were communication, I believe, and there was one, long suffering. Yes, of course, long suffering. Who wants long suffering? I saw that and I was like, I'm going to trade that one in. Well, here's the truth of it. We don't get to trade them in. We get to keep them. We can not use them if we want. We can fight against them, and I've done plenty of that. And we can resist, and we can kick and scream, throw ourselves a little temper tantrum. We can pretend we don't have the gift, and we can see no value or purpose in it. And we can buy into the idea that others put upon us that there is no value and purpose to it. But ultimately, we still have that gift, that spiritual gift or that soul gift. And so what I'm seeing in my own life with regard to that particular, since I mentioned that, let me just go with that one. With that particular one, this is in hindsight. In retrospect, I can see that there are a couple of situations in my life in which I have exhibited at times that quality of long suffering, and I really don't like that word, but the idea of perseverance. And I have been led to so many blessed and absolutely amazing soul experiences in my life that, it almost brings me to tears just to think about them, that came about because essentially my soul, my heart and soul knew my own truth, and I seemed blocked at every turn with regard to the fulfillment of those desires and those hopes and dreams. And sometimes that was pertaining to a particular family dynamic or a relationship, or it could be also a fulfillment in terms of actually connecting my own gifts. That was something at play for me. And so I literally, there was no place to go except to just be aware, continue to try to step through the doorways when they opened. And so I became more and more willing to step through the doors when they opened. So the doors that did open, none of the doors I've wanted to open, or at that time, let's say a couple of years ago, none of those doors had opened. None. Zero. No movement in any of those situations, despite very heartfelt prayers, me taking some huge actions, literally reorienting my life in such a way that I was living 100% true to those desires to the best of my ability. So I began to step through doors, and the gifts that came back to me and the level of service, the level at which I was able to be of service simply by being authentic to me and my heart desires. I didn't necessarily have to talk about them all the time, but by living that authenticity. So it was a combination of my living my own authenticity, being in my truth, and continuing to be present to these desires that were essentially unfulfilled in my life, that first of all led me to abundant blessings. Just on things I wouldn't have even imagined. I lived in Ireland and France, as many of you know, and lived twice now at, in a beautiful, by the still waters at the Soul Streams Day Retreat Center where I live, and rent space there, and just really, I'm so blessed with all of that, and then all of the experiences I had in those places, and the people I met, the people I would be led to. Again, it was because I became very clear about the doors that were opening, and I finally made peace with that gift of long suffering. And are there days that I absolutely, want to kick and scream and say, "Are you kidding me, God?" Yes, absolutely. There are moments, and they're not, don't last for days anymore, but there definitely are moments of that, and my heart hurts, and yet I see the beauty, and what I really truly see is that He who began the good work in me has been completing it, and this long suffering has been a gift to me, and I believe in time to others who in various situations who were connected to the situation. Sorry, that's a little vague, but I think you get what I'm saying. So, so sometimes we, again, I think that there's a tendency for us to push away things that we don't want that gift, and yet it is given to us for a purpose far beyond that which sometimes we can see, know, or understand. So the opportunity is to trust that it has been given for a purpose, and to begin to use that, and to first of all to accept it, and reconcile it within us, and then to begin to use that as a gift to open us up to more and more and more, even if we don't understand the purpose, and to allow that energy to be opened up within us. And I truly believe that in terms of that quality, there are things that are still in the completion process. Not, I don't think they might necessarily look like I want them to look, but I do believe that all of those desires are actually being fulfilled to my highest good, and for a far greater purpose than I can see. It's like the butterflies, I'm sorry, the bees, well, the bees and the butterflies. It's like the bees that go and pollinate the flowers, and they go from one flower to another, and they don't have an assignment. They don't have go to flower A, B, C, then come back to the hive, and the pollination, there's beautiful flowers, and that allows for more butterflies, and look at how that affects the weather, they say, and it certainly affects the joy that we humans experience. So do you see how it's all connected? And we are so used to looking at it from just sort of a siloed perspective, like we see one little angle of it from, and there is so much more going on, so much more. So I just want to encourage us all to use those gifts, and to put it in more practical terms, there are many of you who in the course of your life and your life's work, maybe you have a business, or maybe you have some gift that you share, maybe you volunteer somewhere, maybe you're really great at hospitality and you open up your home to people, and create situations where people can connect to their most authentic selves and to each other. And I just want to really have us think about this tendency that some of us may have to have a need for it to be perfect, and to have for us to somehow have a big check mark in the box that we have gotten all the qualifications we need, and that we have studied this book and that book, and that we've mastered all of Martha Stewart's, if in the case of hospitality, or whoever, I don't even know. Clearly it's not one of my gifts, but we've mastered all of that. It's just about showing up and sharing from our heart. And so the other thing is, with this idea that everything is being completed, again, for us, within us, for others, and for the world, and how this is all working together. I don't think any of us really can see that right now, but I believe there will come a day when we will see that, and we will stand amazed at our own contribution to the whole story. And the way that will come to fruition to the fullest and in divine timing is for us to simply be present in every moment and be attuned to our inner gifts and to begin to bring them forward in the ways that feel most natural. And you're going to get a little opening within your heart, a little nudge, a little intuitive voice is going to come to you however your intuition speaks to you. It may not be speaking as in a voice, but you'll feel it. You will know. Trust that. And when you get those nudges, follow them. It's related to what I was saying earlier. Like I began to see the open doors, and the first couple times I had this nudge, like something showed up in front of me that was completely unexpected and seemed a little bit crazy, quite frankly. And I've had my issues with crazy, so I was like, I can't do that. But I got that little nudge. Step through, the door is opened. Step through it. And wow, there's nothing like that. When the door opens and you step into it and you don't know what's going to happen. Sometimes even after you step through it and you're on the other side, you still don't know, and you still don't know, and you still don't know. And that's why we have to remember that things are being completed all the while as we are stepping forward out onto the path. You have to step onto the path. You can't wait in a corner somewhere until everything, just expecting everything to be, completed within you without you stepping into the stream of your life, standing in the stream of your life and finding your forward flow and really trusting life and trusting God and trusting yourself. And really, those three are like, that's the Trinity right there, It's you, it's God, it's life. Life as in the Spirit, the Holy Spirit, and so don't shut yourself off because you think you're not there yet, or you have to go, you have to do something to perfect your own gifts. By all means, if you see those opportunities to expand, then yes, say yes. And at the same time, don't hold back. Just don't hold back, because the world needs what you have to offer. You need for you to feel what it is to share everything you've got inside of you. So let it out. Let it be, and then let it out. And step into it and just trust that you will be carried in the current of the now, and you will continue to grow and expand and learn, and that the work that has been begun within you will indeed be completed in divine timing, and you will know yourself in a way that just is absolutely amazing. Okay, I'm going to stop this one here. Hope you've enjoyed it. Lots of love. You can connect with me at my website, which is dawnricherson.com.